and welcome to the crossover. I'll tell you what, Tassie have done it. They've managed to lock in top four. What a supreme organisation they are. And we could sit here and go on about Illawarra this, that, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to be friendly tonight for the first time in my life. Tim Conrad, an absolutely fantastic career, a journeyman throughout the NBL. And I'll tell you what, I've just got to remember the names of my co-hosts, unlike last time. Adam Gibson, correct?
Correct.
Damon Lowry.
That's it.
Correct. Who, I may add, is on date night tonight.
She says I never take her places. Happy anniversary, Lisa Lowry.
You know what? If anyone's out there looking for dating tips, if you watched a certain show, probably don't take them from me. But if you do want to take it from Damon, just bring your wife to work. You're just an old school romantic, Damon.
What can you say?
I want to touch quickly. The Jack Jumpers locked in top four, but Tim Conrad's the one that I want to talk about because you spent plenty of time playing against him.
Yeah, just he's been so reliable his whole career. Knocking down, pick and pop, knocking down three-point shooter. Pretty good defensively, but just someone so solid. And he's been around that program. He kind of has been in and out of his contracts the last couple of years, but stayed with it. A real leader amongst that group, and what a phenomenal career he's had.
Well, he's one of those guys where it's just if you play your role, understand your role. Is he the most talented guy on the floor every night? No, he's an unbelievable shooter, but he's a guy that just plays his role. Now, the Jack Jumpers locked in top four. Nothing they need to worry about.
The only thing they need to worry about is their point guard who looks now like the Elephant Man, Josh Majek. We got to make sure Josh is okay. Josh took a nasty shot from Davo Hickey, so hopefully he comes up.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm excited here because we have a program first in the history of the crossover, but we've got to start it with our usual hoo-yah. So go ahead.
Right, as we do. The hoo-yah, the battle cry of the Navy SEALs. Go to my tropical Cairns Taipans. You dudes. You've been impressive all year. Adam Ford, congratulations to you, man. What you have put together with this team, your style of play is sensational. You can take any piece out. You guys happen to take out an MVP quality piece in Keanu Pinder out. You take out Tajir McCall. He's hurt. He's all smelling like deep heat and icy hot. You go to Perth, where you've never won, and they got everything to play for. And what do you guys do? You choke the life out of them with your style, with your spirit. It's Taipan's spirit. It just permeates throughout the whole team. Jonah, Antonio coming on, Lat Mayan balling out, Majuk Deng balling out. You guys just play the right way and your style travels. And to you guys, hoo-yah, Snakies. Way off.
So much potential, but just not used. Now, my worry for the Taipans, I want them to win the championship more than any other team, and I can show my bias with that. I, Felix von Hoff, want the Cairns Taipans to win the championship this year. The injuries are a major concern.
Gilbo, this way I look at it. Yes, they got some injuries out, but when Keanu Pinder went out, they won like 5 or 6 in a row. Like I just said, they play a style that travels. It don't matter. They got a pit bull in Tajir McCall who will be there when the finals start, and they know how to play and compete, and you have to match their style. I'm giving them a puncher's chance to win the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. They have, and they've shown they've won without Keanu, but in a 3-game series, it's going to be a lot tougher. You mentioned a lot of great players. You missed some key pieces. Adam Ford for that team is incredible. No matter who it is, if they have a mismatch, pumps their tyres, go to work, dominate. The other one you miss is Ben Air. Love Ben Air. He's absolutely balling right now. He came to us on the Gold Coast about 2010. A little tiny ball handle with his brother. He's taken off. Fordy's given the opportunity, and he's just grasped it. So their bench, when they get healthy, look out.
Now, the Cairns Taipans, I love the spirit, as you say, but I know they choked the life out of the Perth Wildcats, but did they have to do the young tacker in the crowd like this? Look at this. Bang! Drop kick. Now, that is where I expected your hard enough to go today. Look at that. Head straight into the hands.
No, he took it like a man. The little fella took it.
That is absolutely brutal.
That came with some pace.
That's shocking. Now look at Adam Ford saying, hey, if you want to come here like that, you've got to please press no charges and take no legal action against the Cairns Taipans because we just do not have the money to be able to afford that legal case.
Absolutely. Do we have some parents close anywhere? Where's his dad or his mum coming to check on him?
All I've seen there, you're exactly right. At not one point was there a parent or anyone looking out.
Where are the parents at? Where's the mum and dad going to check on the little fella?
OK, we'll contact Child Services and we'll get that one sorted out. But for the first time in program history, we've had a hoo-yah straight into a harden up.
And this is something that I'm not even going to... I got the Wildcats hat here, but I'm not going to put it on. I'm not going to disrespect myself like that. You guys got everything to play for. 12,000 of the Red Army in the house. You control your own destiny. You're playing against a team missing Keanu Pinder and Tajir McCall. What else do you want? Like, what else do you want?
They want Shannon Scott out as well.
You guys dish up that garbage. You give up 14 offensive rebounds. Like the Webster brothers, you guys can ball. You combine for 3. Brady Manick, you won't get on the glass. All the things that you guys have done bad all year, now it's starting to repeat itself. That's why I said one hot day don't make a summer. Those cameo appearances you guys been making from time to time, getting some wins, the true character revealed itself, and you got to hand it to you at home. And now guess what's next? Now Sydney Kings are coming. So now we're looking at 70 years. No, 35 times 2. Twice possibly not making the finals. You brought it on yourselves. You guys still got time, but you need to harden up.
I want to talk, because you've given the harden up, you've gone all out. Gib, I'm going to ask you, what is the issue this year with the Perth Wildcats? Over the last 2 years?
Well, I think their personnel, they've shown that they wanted to go the offensive style. They just want to run the scores up. But when you can't make shots, that style does not work. And it showed last night. Cairns, they worked harder. The spirit you said they have a lot more of. They were first to the ball, loose balls. They played harder. They run harder. Like you said, offensive rebounds. They just didn't crash the boards and play that style. And Bryce Cotton is incredible, but he can't do everything. And when these other guys, the second, third options, don't step up and score points, he's going to burn out, and he can't do it by himself.
Well, he definitely can't do it by himself. And I'll tell you what, there is a man out there who I have some sympathy for. As someone who has been torn apart by the internet before, I have some sympathy because the online crowd that comes for Craig Hutchison, the new owner, of course, or part owner, I still believe, of the Perth Wildcats, has come under fire for a lot of this. But what he has inherited, and never in my life did I think that I would speak down on a situation involving Bryce Cotton. And this has nothing to do with Cotton. That man got the bag. He got paid. Multi-year contract, massive, highest paid player in the NBL. My issue is that contract has now totally hamstrung the Perth Wildcats. They can't bring in any suitable imports that they need if they want to be able to compete for a championship. Will they be thereabouts for a long time with Bryce Cotton? Yes, but it's gotten to the point now where he needs to have other players around him. Getting guys like, and again, no offence to Brady Manick, he's a great guy, but he's just fresh out of college. These are the only guys that you can afford, and you're looking at me like you got a real nice comeback ready to go, but these are the only guys that you can afford when you are hamstrung by a contract that big in a league where the salary cap is not like it is in the NBA.
But also, he was getting paid this kind of money 2 years ago or 3 years ago when they were making the finals.
Yeah, but they also had guys, veteran guys, that were taking real little money to stay there.
Well, they've got to find those pieces again.
Let's go get some old veterans back.
Bryce worth every dollar. Every single dollar Bryce has earned all that money. The problem is those guys collectively have no defensive heart. Yeah, you got offensive heart. Yeah, anybody can look good running up and down playing, Monday night comp or whatever. That's that style. They don't have anybody outside of the aging veteran guys, the Mitch Nortons, the Jesse Wagstaff, those aging guys that are being phased out. This new group of offensive guys won't play D.
Well, Blanchfield and Norton are getting paid reasonable money.
And that, like I said, those days are over. Those guys, we're not going to see them guys playing a whole lot more. The guys that he has offensively have bought in, but defensively, John really, it's up to him to take guys by the scruff and say, if you don't defend, sit your ass down. That's what needs to happen.
I love it. Well, I'll tell you what, something's been really confusing me over the last couple of weeks, and that is this whole play-in, who's going to make the finals. It's so close. So I've been doing some calculations just before I got in here. Whiteboard, please. Whiteboard. Thank you. I feel like a magician. Now, let's just have a look at this, because this is about how complex this entire situation has gotten now. We've got Melbourne. If they manage to go X, Y over Z, then they'll be able to make the finals here.
What does this say about reality TV?
Oh, God. Whoops, I've left my own personal notes there. Sorry. Let's just... Yeah, Damien, I'll text him later. Get a real job. Sorry, that wasn't meant to be on there. That's just some notes for myself. But right now, this is how I feel trying to work out who makes the play-in game. Now, I know we've got coming to the app soon, I believe, is the live ladder. That might help. I actually get the idea that the actual people who schedule these games may be sitting there watching the live ladder. This could be the first year in history that someone actually forgets and we mess it up and the wrong team makes the finals.
We're not going to know who's getting in until after today. And we still won't know until maybe after tomorrow.
Well, what about the Perth playing Sydney tomorrow? Sydney go in that with their full group, don't they?
Well, this is what I love. The Sydney Kings have Melbourne United and the Perth Wildcats' destiny in their hands. They can choose to maybe play Cooks and maybe beat Perth. Who does Sydney want in there? Do they want to mess with Perth and knock them out again? Do they want to mess with Melbourne United? They have full control because they'll go in there and win if they want.
I'm almost confident that the Sydney Kings would put everything on the line, injuries, you name it, just to knock Melbourne out. And I think we can all agree with that.
Somewhere in the line, Chase Buford has a hat with names in it, and he's going to pull out a name, and that guy might not play. That's just how much cushion those guys got. That's how much they disrespecting the league by not playing people whenever he feels like it.
My most hated thing on the season this year is the fact that Xavier Cooks plays such limited minutes, but I can't say anything because they win games. It's the perfect thing. It's the perfect measure of minutes, and Chase Buford has absolutely nailed it throughout this team, but I hate it because I want to see Xavier Cooks play 40 minutes.
Well, he still puts up numbers. That's why they're so good.
I want to see him put up more numbers.
Correct, but again, this is why they're on top of the ladder. This is why Chase is such a good coach. He doesn't need to play 35 minutes to be successful. He gets his numbers in 20. This is my question. Do they rest, let Perth win to knock Melbourne out?
Oh, yes, they do.
This is the question.
Yes, they do. If they just came out and put the ball in the middle of the floor and walked off, it would not shock me at all. How's this for live TV? There we go. Just get that out of the way. But I'll tell you what.
I was just going to say, let me just say before we even go. The Sydney Kings, like, we're looking at a repeat right here. Like, for all the jokes and stuff, how are you going to beat this team 3 times in a row? Now, New Zealand Breakers, I think, got the defensive spirit and they got the buy-in to give them trouble. Cairns obviously can get into a shootout. They're one of the only teams that can go up and down the court with them. But over a series, it's going to take some hard doing to knock them guys off 3 times.
It's tough. Look, with a guy like Xavier Cooks there, and you know what? Maybe he plays bigger minutes in the finals when you're not really looking to rest or anything. The Sydney Kings are a dangerous group. And speaking of dangerous groups, Josh Jenkins and Simon Legg from Sportsbet with all you need to know for the rest of the NBL games this round.
Welcome to At The Line. My name is Simon Legg. We're here to talk about the NBL, and every week, again, I'm joined by Josh Jenkins, who is a former Townsville Crocodiles legend.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Good to be here. It's a great time of the season too because so much is unknown. The last week of the regular season, we head to the new play-in tournament, but we just don't know who's going to be in it. So fun times ahead.
Well, there's that, but before that, there is obviously the MVP awards.
Yes.
Now, it's a black suit number. I'm going to be there. I've already planned what I'm going to wear. You were planning what you were going to wear, and you've pulled out, and so I have to accept our inevitable award for At The Line without you.
What is that award for?
Best NBL show, I would have thought. Yeah, surely it's us. I mean, who else could beat us?
Has to be. I was going, but post-footy, the old suit doesn't quite fit. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah, a few issues on that front, but
you have been running though. Anyway, let's talk about the MVP because the market is if you look at the market, it looks like Xavier Cooks can't lose, but we still need to look at the numbers and the fluctuations. So, talk us through Xavier Cooks initially.
Yeah, well, Cooks, look at that, 950. So, any of the punters that got on at 950, congrats to you because our traders think this is a foregone conclusion, $1.11 right now. So, that's been his play all year. As you can see, his personal tracker throughout the year, the fluctuations. He's been rock solid all year. The only time we saw a little drift, 270 at the 305, he got that ankle injury, but he has been a star all season.
Absolutely, he has. And now the next player we want to look at, who's also been a star all season, and I think you want to talk about the fact that his numbers have been better than Xavier Cooks, but Mitch Creek from the Phoenix, as we get his fluctuations up on the screen now, a little bit up and down, but his play has been consistent.
Yeah, his team has let him down in a sense. So he's averaging 7 points more per game than Cooks, the same amount of rebounds, a little bit less on the assist front. But we know the Kings are the #1 team in the league. Creek and the Phoenix may not even get in. So that $12.50, that's not on the back of poor play from Creek. That's on the back of the Phoenix losing 4 or 5 in a row. So he's been great all season long. That's a little misleading.
It is. And now the last player I want to speak about is Bryce Cotton. He's won this award before. He's an absolute superstar. His price has been pretty standard. It's sort of remained the same, but obviously now it's blown out with the Cooks price. What do you think about him?
Well, the 3-timer. He could easily be a 4-timer, but I think the fact that the Wildcats are only going to sneak in or miss out altogether is going to be the reason why he doesn't get it. I mean, I think Creek deserves the award. $1.11 leads me to think that our traders aren't going to get it that wrong. Or are they? They might.
Well, the #1 seed does have to count for something, but I absolutely hear what you're saying. Absolutely hear what you're saying. But if you want to follow these selections on, please make sure you do so responsibly.
You know the score. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
Ho, ho, ho! Here are some of the top 10 plays from round 17. Thanks to the NBL Chains. Chains is the officially licensed digital collectibles of the NBL. It's a chance for fans, that means you at home, to collect and trade their favourite NBL player moments in a unique, exciting way. I wonder if my 6 missed threes in Adelaide are up there on NBL Chains. Hopefully, they probably wouldn't be too valuable anyway. But the NBL Chains Discord community has voted on their top play of round 17, which, you know what, I don't want to give too much of a preview, but I reckon that one might just be up there somewhere. Fellas, round 17 was massive when it comes to highlights, and I'm sure the NBL Chains will be hard sought after. But which one in particular do you reckon was the most emphatic?
Did Justin Simons move the ball over and catch Creek around his head?
Reminds me of you in your younger days, Gibbo.
Yeah, my massive throwdowns. I had one of those. We'll be able to put that on highlights, no doubt. But I've got to go with that one as well. Sorry, Creaky, but that was nice by Justin Simon. Maddox was good, but when you dunk on someone just like this, boom!
Winner was, bang, Mitch Creek getting a taste of his own medicine. Well, one lucky Discord member will receive a jersey from their favourite NBL team just by voting.
Have a look at the launch.
Jerseys are going for about $100 these days. You can get it just for voting. So if you want to get in on the action, join the NBL Chains community by heading over to the Chains website to learn more. That is chains.basketball.com.au. For those unfamiliar with the internet, that is chains.basketball.com.au. Unbelievable stuff. Now, on the topic of massive dunks, the last time that we saw Mitch Creek return serve with a dunk like that was a throwdown. And right now, if you're not clear from what my whiteboard said, we could be heading towards a throwdown for the 5v6 playoff, which, in my opinion, would not only have Tommy Greer and Nick Trulson, the CEOs of both clubs, licking their lips, maybe Larry Kesselman as well. That would be massive and one of the biggest games we've seen in a while in Melbourne.
Well, absolutely. The throwdowns, they always attract a big crowd, and that rivalry they've built so well over the last 3 or 4 years. But to see that game for a knockout elimination game would be elite.
I'm here for it.
Is that the biggest game we would have had in Melbourne? Because, well, we've had the NBL finals, of course, with Melbourne and Sydney, but I think in terms of just a one-off game, I reckon that's up there.
Yeah. The fire and smoke that would bring. Oh, man. That's but how do we get to that? What needs to happen? Don't worry. Don't bring the board back out. Don't worry. No.
I'm not getting that whiteboard and my personal notes out again, but it is time for one of my favourite segments, What in the World? And we are going all around the globe for this one. And I'll tell you what, we're starting it off with one that I've got a bit of a harsh opinion on. Now, have you boys ever seen a dunk this good? Well, we've only just caught the back end of it there. Let's get the full one. There we go. Now, that's a dislocated shoulder.
Absolutely, that is.
Who is that guy?
Well, there's your issue. He's a guy that I believe just plays in the G League, and there is people saying he's the one that needs to be in the dunk contest. No. The people in the dunk contest need to be established NBA players. That's what makes it cool, because they're guys we see play night in, night out. There's professional dunkers out there.
Yeah.
I could care less.
Yeah.
Throw it through your legs 3 times and do a backflip. I don't care. I want to see the players that I see that I know can hoop do it night in, night out.
100%. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Thank you. Appreciate the agreement there, boys.
Big time. Very well said, Felix.
Well, as someone who was an imposter on the NBL court when I was there, I can appreciate this. A 22-year-old lady has jumped in. We'll just let this bloke talk about it for a second.
For a club basketball tournament. Here's video from that game. Churchland is in the black uniforms. Number 1 right there that just came up with the black block shot. We're told
a 23-year-old jumping in against JV. Now, Damon, what age group are we talking there?
Junior varsity, that's like 9th and 10th grade, and sometime 11th if you're really bad. But yeah, I played JV as a 10th grader. That's shocking.
10th grade is what age?
Oh, 15.
15. And they're 22 jumping in there. And not only just jumping in there, but beating the life out of the ball.
Playing more D than some team dudes out in WA. Okay. All right. No.
I think Perth Wildcats there to get here on the floor to get some. Now, the crowd causing the missed free throws here. We love a bit of people getting put off from behind, but this one for me, just taking it a little bit too far, fellas.
It's a little bit too far if you ask me.
Now, you're telling me that it is a fraternity initiation. There is no way those guys were sitting home
worked.
And just decided to do that.
Of course it worked.
Well,
That's going to put you off every time.
I don't think we'll see that in the NBL anytime soon.
It could be the crossover guys at the back.
Not going to happen.
Stop it.
A little bit.
No chance.
Well, I'm down. You guys are the ones shooting it down. But our man Gary Brown was at the Australian Open. Now, I didn't know that Gary Brown had any issues with his vision, but he appears to be sitting courtside. And he's got the binoculars out. Beside what on earth is Gary Brown wearing? Those binoculars. He's sitting right next to the court.
Great seats.
What could he possibly be looking at?
We've got to ask him. I like this suit.
There we go. There we go. He's looking at the biceps.
My man, G Brown. That's nice.
Oh, that is absolutely unbelievable. I'll tell you what. I'm running out of breath after all that. What in the world? But I'll tell you what, New Zealand and Brisbane, we might have our attention on New Zealand coming up after the break, so stick with us. Welcome back to the crossover. You see right there, the Brisbane Bullets running out for what is going to be the final time in what's been a pretty forgettable season. But I do want to give credit, Adam Gibson and Damon Lowry, to the fans in Brisbane. Now, it has been one of the most turbulent seasons in recent memory for any team in the NBL, yet the fans, week in, week out, they could have every reason to be disappointed in management, ownership, you name it. Superstar players maybe not living up to expectation, but they pack that arena every single time. Now, I have my reasons. Maybe it's because there's nothing else to do at Brisbane, but it is still a valiant effort.
I was going to say well said before that last part, but there's plenty to do in Brisbane. But you're right, great turnout. They stick behind their team, win, lose or draw, and a lot of losses this year. But for them to turn out to sell out there tonight, I'm pretty sure. So Brisbane, no doubt, will want to have a great finish to their season.
That's why this is a danger game, and shout out to the Brisbane Bullets front office, because there's people behind the scenes that make sure those seats get filled. So they're doing a good job in the front office, and now Brisbane has got to come out and reward them. So this is a danger game for the Breakers.
It is always a danger game when you are coming up against a team that does not fear death. They have nothing to lose, the Brisbane Bullets. Maybe that's a bit of a grandiose way of describing it, but it still remains the point. Now, Tyler Johnson during the week from the Brisbane Bullets mentioned that he'd be happy to come back. He wants to come back. Now, I don't think we saw the best out of Tyler Johnson this year. We saw sparks. Are you entertaining that?
Yeah, I love him as a player. I just don't see how Sobey and Tyler work together. Like, he should be a starter in the league. But again, him and Sobey are very similar. I think they're both two men. They need a point guard, I feel, in Brisbane for them to be successful. So if he wants to come off the bench and use an import off the bench with that impact again, maybe. But I'm just not sure if him and Sobey can work well as that two-guard spot.
Agree 100% with that. Awesome to see Tyler wanting to come back, because his NBA career, after he finished up, because he got a substantial bag. He doesn't need to play basketball. So this guy's playing for the sheer love of the game, which I personally love. But he just wants to now, he's got an appetite for basketball again. It's just not going to be in Brisbane. He's basically telling every other team in the league, I'm available. Talk to my agent.
I like that. Check chess, not checkers. Now, the New Zealand Breakers, a team we're going to see plenty of in this postseason. Do we give them a legitimate championship threat?
Absolutely. They had a rough start against Illawarra, but in the third quarter, they flicked the switch. Their defence ramped up. Brantley right there is absolutely elite. I think should be in the top, 10 players in the league, but they've got so many weapons. They've got great guards. They score all over the floor, but they play defence. So I've got them and Sydney playing off in the final.
They got the depth. They got the spirit. They got the buy-in. Modi's done a fantastic job. And they're also a team that's like the Jack Jumpers, except they're playing for their continent. Is New Zealand a continent? A country? Ain't something.
Answer that one for us.
But whatever it is, whatever that
it's
place
definitely
is,
a country.
No, they absolutely can win 3 games against the Kings. It's going to be tough, but they got all the pieces there to do it.
Now, of course, tonight's a massive game for the Breakers in the grand scheme of things, because they're playing to secure second spot, which is massive with the second. Straight through to the semi-finals. And one of the reasons that they've been able to be that good this season is Will McDowell-White, who has taken his game to another level. After almost being a myth for a while, he's showing us why he has had so much hype for so long.
Yeah, he has, and Barry Brown Jr. has been injured. He's missed a lot of basketball. Will McDowell-White has played with the Boomers, stepped up, and he'll have a big game tonight. Brisbane will have a tough job to stop him for sure.
Well, Brisbane have a tough job. Who are you taking to win this? And no need the points prediction.
Breakers. We don't need the points prediction because they just need the
points. There's too much mainland
Breakers by 8
in here.
Let's get out of here. Kiwis.
Let's get out of here. Go Breakers. Woo.